I'm Dr. Basil Considine. I am here from the ACU Online Writing Center, and this is your 5-minute guide to reflection writing, tying in with the EXSO 491 course. That is the Exercise Science Capstone course and part of a series. So look for other items either on our webinars page or on a YouTube playlist. So our learning objectives today, first, we're going to look at how to understand the common language for reflection writing that used in APA style. We'll talk about how this is useful not just in reflection papers, but also sometimes in tie-ins with other assignments or even research proposals that you might be working on. And then we'll talk about how to explore the integration of these reflections into things that you might be preparing for, say, a larger research proposal or revisions of your portfolio works, as comes up in this course. So let's take a look at some of the common language for reflection writing in APA style. First, let's look at why you might want to be using first-person perspective in the first place. APA guidelines strongly encourage that you use first person. These are I statements, saying this is mine and mine. I did that. When you're discussing things like your research, personal and professional actions, when you're referring directly to yourself, and in some other situations, co-authors or co-researchers. For example, your work is part of a research team or a group project. To clarify who did what, I interviewed these people. To avoid anthropomorphism, especially in this age of AI, we want to be clear about who did what and who gets responsibility. And if you're describing your personal views, it's absolutely appropriate and helpful to use personal pronouns like, I believe that. I define this as, my personal belief is whatever it is. Now, when you're writing about those actions, again, use I and my. Things like, I am currently working on that. I plan to. I've asked 2 coworkers to be accountability partners, or I chose this because. And this is true even when you are assessing yourself, because your thoughts are what they are, but how you explain what you believe and how is what makes these important to the reader and to yourself. So remember, when you're stating characteristics and events, state also how you feel about them. There's usually no right or wrong answer in a reflection, but make sure that you tell us if you think these things are meaningful or not, and why. And if in doubt, here's some questions that you can use to help guide this. First, is this thing something you're happy with? Is it something you want to change? And is there something about your background or the background of the people that you are proposing to work with that contributes to this? Key context. So let's tie that in now with the Exercise Science Capstone course, and specifically the Week 6 Vocational Formation Reflection Essay. Now, if we look at this, it's at first glance, it just looks like a 1 to 2 page essay. But there are opportunities here to not just reflect on it, but reflect in the style, in the context of the larger research proposal that you are assembling in this course, and think about how that reflection might ground and help inform some of that. Also, if you've been working on these components and you're thinking, I'm coming in a bit short of that 8-page goal, this might be something that you add to round out some things or to give an extra weight to the proposed project. Now, if we look at this with the week 1 assignment, which will be revised as part of the larger portfolio, that asks for the rationalization of your research project. Why is this important? And that can be important to the people involved, the patient participants perhaps, and can also be important to you. Looking at the larger research proposal, again, these are going to be compiled together in the week 6 assignment number 2. So looking at all these things, there is going to be a gluing these together of putting them together and saying, why is this important? Why is this justified? Why do these things matter? And a lot of that can be grounded, usually not exclusively, but grounded in part on your personal experiences, observations, and reflections. And it's important to keep in mind that we are looking at appropriate context for what you are doing right now. This is an undergraduate level research proposal. And if you were doing, say, a doctoral level, you'd be doing more grounding it in the literature. But a lot of first projects, a lot of initial interest begin with, this is something important to me. I'm going to delve into this. And that might be something that you're reflecting on in this assignment. So let's now look at how you might incorporate that reflection in your revisions. And we're going to look at this one piece of text here that I have excerpted from this edited volume. So this is the Handbook of Self-Enhancement and Self-Protection. And it is a edited volume, meaning that it has two overall editors, but the chapters are essentially written by different participants. And so although you see the editors' names here, the authors will be whoever was writing this particular chapter, which happens to be listed in the example here. So let's say you were looking at this passage and saying, you know what, I want to ground my reflection in this piece of the literature. Usually not required in a reflection, but if you're thinking about how this might fit as part of this larger portfolio of things I'm gluing together, then it might be helpful to have something. Oh, in addition to the public health implications of increasing obesity rates, I am personally interested in this topic. So this is your reflecting on why you're interested. I am personally interested in this topic because of personal and familial experiences with this disease. And one of the things that helps make a great reflection is if you give context, in which case this is interpreting the idea. As Sherman and Hartson noted, threats to self-image can result in X. And I don't think you have to live terribly long in America to know that obesity can have terrible implications for self-image with further ramifications for public health. So let's take another example with this same passage that we're drawing on and how you might reflect differently. Perhaps religiosity is part of it. As a practicing Christian, I understand that illness and faith crises can be both positively and negatively intertwined. Sherman and Hartson, 2011, describe life as containing, and make sure that you look when you are proofing your text to catch things like this. Run spell check and you will catch a typo like that, especially when you're assembling your final portfolio. So these authors described life as containing numerous potential psychological threats, which in my experience can also be viewed as religious threats. So this sentence is taking a little excerpt from the literature, and it is going ahead and saying, hey, I have an application to my life where I'm coupling it with my own reflection that that idea can manifest as religious threats. The high levels of religiosity in my planned practice area. And that's another thing where, again, make sure that you run and spell check because religious can be spelled with that, but is religiosity spelled that way? Make sure you run spell check to confirm that. One more example. You can also talk about how your experience with different readings from the course and prior courses has informed your understanding. For example, after learning about self-affirmation theory, I recognized many parallels in this idea of maintaining perceived worth and patient exercise routines. Therefore, my proposed project, and then whatever you say. So you can see, you can, as part of your reflection, tie into these other elements that you are knitting together and write not just a standalone assignment, but pieces of text that will help you with the assignment that's coming up. Because again, we have several different things that are coming together. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at onlinewritingcenter@acu.edu, to go to my.acu.edu and select the Online Writing Center groups page to schedule an appointment, or check out our website online for additional information.